Hello, everybody. Today on the podcast, I have Amy Theisen, and she is a classically trained metaphysics consultant and coach. And she helps female entrepreneurs find their joy and transform their lives because most of them are so tired, frustrated, and emotionally drained from giving so much to others that they can't find that balance and joy. So she helps them connect with their hidden physical and spiritual support systems that will make them feel lighter, more focused, and in the flow as their inner and outer obstacles fall effortlessly away. Amy uses the tools of Chinese astrology, feng shui, and strategic date selection to elevate their lives by connecting into the hidden aspects of success. Bottom line is, she helps women stop fighting for their lives and start living happy. Because when a woman is happy, everyone around her is happy too. Welcome, Amy.
Hi, thanks, Kara.
Yeah, I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. So let's start by just having you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your area of expertise is here.
Okay, so I live in the state of Minnesota, just outside of the Minneapolis area, kind of in those rolling suburb areas. So I've got a really nice backyard wildlife area. I'm a mother of three. I have a dog and a cat, married, and I started this journey feng shui, back in 2003. I took my very first little class. And that sent me down a little bit of a rabbit hole where I just mentioned to my husband I was interested in feng shui. So he decided to give me 4 books at Christmas time. And then I proceeded to attend a week-long seminar, which I got even more interested. And then I worked with the original woman I had been studying with as her business partner. And then I went the classical feng shui route. And now I study with the Master Academy of Chinese Metaphysics, which is located in Malaysia. I graduated from their graduate programs in 2008, but I continue to refine my knowledge with them and expand it because many people think feng shui is written in stone or Chinese metaphysics is this is the way it is, but we have to adapt it for modern times. And here in America, when you say feng shui, people think, oh, I have to go put a statue here or a water fountain there, or wind chimes here. I have to make my house look like a Chinese restaurant to have feng shui. And that's really not the case. It's largely invisible. And it's really interesting that we're talking right now because it is the Chinese New Year time. So it is in the news. It's like, oh, it's the metal ox. Well, they just say it's the ox here. And so everyone's mind is on what the Chinese New Year is all about at this point. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So let's talk more about this year of the metal ox. Is that today, right?
Well, yes, the Chinese New Year is today. They celebrate the Lunar New Year. The Solar New Year happened on late on February 3rd. That's when the energy actually transitioned. So we typically celebrate, those of us in America and largely most of the world celebrates on January 1st. And I think there's a stat about how such a high percentage of people don't keep their New Year's resolutions after the first 3 to 4 weeks. Well, it's because they're trying to do that in energy that's waning instead of waiting till now when the energy is actually growing to support them. So Metal Ox is here loud and clear. Some of the things that are in the news right now are foreshadowing what is yet to come. There's several things that we are forecasting. This year is rather significant. If you'll remember, it was all over the news in December when we had what was called the Great Conjunction, when Jupiter and Saturn aligned, and it was the closest they've been in a long time, thousands of years. And they were calling it the Christmas star. That happens every single year, but usually they're not that close together. This year, however, it's a transition year because every 19.8 years, we switch from one energy to a next. It's an era. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's just been a crazy year of 2020. And it's never happened before. Well, if you look back 19.8 years ago, roughly, we had September 11th of 2001, right?
Yes, yes.
Unprecedented stuff happened that year. So 2020 into 21 is one of those transition years, just like 2001 started a transition. This is a transition at the heaven level, and now Earth is going to have to catch up. And that's going to take 3 years. And so we're going to see this roller coaster. I call it a game of chutes and ladders, with more chutes than ladders happening. But just know if you fall down a chute, get back up, and you'll find a ladder soon enough. So this ox is coming in. We're predicting that, if you're familiar with geography way back from middle school, that ring of fire, which is kind of the ring, the coastline around the Pacific Ocean. So in the United States, it would be Washington, Oregon, California would be, and Alaska. We're predicting that the ring of fire locations are going to receive the harshest natural disasters going on. Last year, it was the fires that we were predicting. This year, it's more volcanic, earthquake, torrential rain, that type of thing. That's just one of the things that we're predicting. What else do you want to know about the
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I don't want to be doom and gloom.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. It sounds like kind of scary, but I think the underlying thing here is that there are ladders, like you say, chutes and ladders game. If you go down a chute, there's always a ladder in your near future, right? And so it's not really a time of fear and to hide and to shut down, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. What would you say to that? It's a time to do what? I'll let you speak to that.
Sure. So this is a year where, since we're transitioning, there is a lot of opportunity out there. And those that started pivoting in 2020 actually stayed ahead of the game. A lot of individuals decided that they were just going to sit back and wait. In fact, I saw a lot of people, oh, I'm getting 2 weeks off from my job while everything shuts down to slow the spread. And then that 2 weeks turned into a month, into 2 months, into 3 months. The people that looked at that and said, okay, I need to take control of my life, actually are going to be the ones that succeed going forward. One of the things you want to be looking at is who's in your network. Okay, friends are in our network, relatives are in our network, business colleagues are in our network, but how strategic have you been in building your network and keeping relationships with that network? Because I know a lot of people have lost touch with people this year as well, because you want them in your back pocket if something were to happen in your life this year. You want to find mentors. You want to improve your skill set. Look at where you may need to have some knowledge in an area. We didn't have words like Zooming a year ago. Yes, Zoom was out there, but suddenly I'm on the phone getting my 80-plus-year-old parents onto a Zoom session, sitting in my house in the western suburbs, and they're a little bit further out from me, so that they could get online with my sisters and I. And it was really interesting trying to talk them through how to do that. So we improved their skill sets. Now, everyone also thinks that we're just going to go back to normal. As soon as this is over, everything will be back to normal. What is happening is, because this period 9 is shifting in the metal ox year, we're going to see that our economy is not going to go back to normal. We as business owners are not going to go back to normal, because we're getting used to this technology. More people are comfortable with it. So look at, as a business owner, even as an individual, what other platforms do you need to be familiar with, and how can you use those platforms to serve your clients and customers and keep in touch with your network. We are also going to be seeing over the next 2 to 3 years, it's actually going to happen very quickly, is the rise of women. Women, I mean, from the Me Too movement that started happening a couple years ago to our first vice president, female vice president, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So all of those women that have gone before, making these paths, breaking through glass ceilings, they're going to be followed very quickly now by others who are going to reach the greatest heights, not just in politics, but also in the business world. So I want you to think about, okay, how are you meeting the needs of women? How are you communicating with women? As a business owner, which population of the female demographic are you serving, and are you communicating with them in the best possible way? Those are some of the other things we're going to see happening very fast as we head into 2021, 2022, and beyond. It will not go back to the way it was. Therefore, smart people are going to say, okay, how do I roll with it? How do I take advantage of it? I do caution you with the stock market right now. If you have not been investing before today, this may not be the right time to start unless you have someone who really knows what they're doing. I don't think we're going to have the economic clash this year, or a crash, but it is coming. And like we saw with the Robinhood platform and GameStop, that's going to happen more frequently. So you want to make sure you're on the right side of that and not the wrong side, because it can easily happen to be on the wrong side. So those are a couple things that we can do to take advantage of the things that are shifting. Build your network, improve your skill set. If you're going to invest in yourself. That is never a bad investment. If you're feeling a pull to learn some type of technology, definitely do it. And if you thought we saw a lot of technology improvements or increases in the last few years, that's nothing for what we're going to see very quickly in the near future and over the next 20 years.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it kind of seems a little gloom, but I think when adverse things happen, it really gives us an opportunity to think outside of the box and be creative and tap into our strengths and our intuition and our creativity to really just go out there and create something new, right? And I think that that's what we as women are good at, right? Give us something and we will create it and change it and morph it into something amazing, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I want everybody looking at this time as, oh my gosh, what can I do? Because creativity drives passion. If you are lacking passion in your life, or you're bored with your life, start creating something, because creation creates momentum, which then creates passion. Be strategic. Get mentors, get coaches. I was talking to someone this week and I said, it's kind of, think about it this way. When you were first starting out learning anything, whether you were in elementary school or 7th, 8th grade, maybe you picked up a musical instrument for the first time. Maybe you joined a sports team. So I'll use volleyball as an example. I was a volleyball player. I started in 7th grade. Now they start way younger. So 7th grade, we had a team, a lot of girls, and we had a coach. And a coach was teaching us fundamentals, trying to get us to move from this level to the next level to our best. So from starting to the best that we could be in 7th and 8th grade. Then you hit the high school ages, you're junior and senior. Now you have quite a bigger audience that's coming to watch you play. Sometimes they're paying money to come in and watch you play. You have a different coach. Different coaches moving you from fundamentals to more skill. They're drawing out all of the best of you So to move you from that beginning stage to being the best you can be at that high school level, again, whether you're playing an instrument, acting in a play, or playing a sport. Then can you make the next leap to the next level, going to the college level? Whole different ballgame, bigger arenas, bigger audiences, a very much higher paid coach who is there to take your skill level all the way to, I don't want to say iconic, but for some people to the iconic level. And then all of a sudden, now, small portion of people go on to be professionals. Again, bigger arenas, bigger audiences, higher paid coaches. But for the majority of people, they go into the workforce. And they go into the workforce. They go into the workforce. Maybe they have a mentor. Maybe they have a boss, but the boss is not a coach. The boss is there to get your job done and to give you the guidelines of where you're running. Why did we stop with a coach? Why don't we have coaches anymore? Because we don't think about life that way. It's like we're just supposed to automatically know how to get the best out of ourselves when we step into some sort of position as a job. I want to challenge that, especially now. Because of this transition, we need coaches and mentors and people who are helping us go from this level to this level yet again. Don't discount the power of having a good coach in your corner who's pushing you just like they did when you were in 7th grade, when you were a senior in high school, and even when you were in college. Because we need that right now. And every time you change, it brings more passion into your life. Now, some people are thinking to themselves, oh, that's too stressful. I have too many other things on my plate. I've got kids, I've got pets, I've got a house, I've got bills. I can't afford a coach. Think about maybe you can't afford not to have a coach. Even if it's a coach helping you manage all of that.
Exactly. Well, and like you say, it's about investing in yourself. And the more that we do that, and the more that we allow these coaches who are expertise in these areas give us the tools we need to make our chaos more calm and give us structured tools to get through the day and have more power, give more power back to ourselves. That's really what they do. They teach us those tools and those systems so that we can get our power back that we've lost being so busy, right?
Yeah,
and so
that's a great way to put it.
It's just a great time to collaborate, like you say, reach out to coaches like you and I who can help you in different areas of expertise and tap into that intuition. Like you say, if you feel like something's been in the back of your mind and you've wanted to do, but you just haven't had that push, now's the time, right, to do that.
Absolutely. And that is one thing that women, so I work with men too, but women seem to be much more open to what it is I do. And I think it's because of that intuitive side of most females.
Yes.
What I also see is some women are like, well, I know I have intuition, because they'll get a big burst at one point, but it's the softer intuition that we have to start listening to. Intuition isn't always that big pushy thing. It's sometimes very subtle and very quiet, and we have to learn how our intuition is working with us, because what intuition can do is help clear away the things that aren't important so you can see the top 3 things you ought to be concentrating on. That's how I see it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Women know they have it, but they sometimes don't listen. Awesome. I don't know if that's happened to you, but it's happened to me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk more about the Chinese metaphysics that you are expertise in. So how do you use this to help women more optimally design their life, or what tools do you use to help them make those little shifts and improvements?
I have 3 main areas that or main tools that I use with my clients. The first is what's called a destiny chart. And some people will say, well, isn't that fate? Wasn't that just supposed to happen? And I say, well, yes, it is fate, but it's what you do after it happens that's your destiny. So pretend that you're single and you want to meet Mr. Right. And you happen to meet him in a grocery store. You strike up a conversation over grapefruit, I don't know, and you exchange numbers. That's fate. It's what you do next that's destiny. Do you lose the phone number? Do you call? Do you not call? That's your choice. And so what I use is something called a destiny chart. I had one here a second ago and I don't know where it is. That's looking at, here it is. So it looks like this. It's a destiny chart that tells a story of someone's life. So we can see when certain things might be happening and whether or not they need to take the next step with them. So right now I'm in a really busy time of my year because of the new year. So my clients are coming to me saying, how do I use 2021? And so as I go through their chart, so this is the year of the ox, but we all have animals that influence us. You can walk into a Chinese restaurant and you're like, I was born the year of the monkey. And you say, oh, monkeys like rats and they like dragons, but they don't like tigers. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, my husband's a tiger. What does that mean? But you also have 3 other animals that influence your life. So those intermix with each other. So I'm looking at how the ox year is affecting someone's chart, what those animals are bringing to the table this year. And if I see a really great year, I just went with a client yesterday. She has 3 of the top animals for this year. And she was thinking that maybe she would just take a year and kind of chill out. And I said, well, then you're going to waste the power of the year. You are going to waste all of this, which is all about building, all about expansion, all about going hard. If you're serious about growing your business, this is the year to do it, I told her. And so she's like, okay. I said, we can rest another year. That's not so great, but this is the year to go forward. So that is one tool that I use. Then I use something called feng shui, which is having your house support you. On my YouTube channel, I have a little video on there about how to set up your office for success. But we can actually use different locations in our homes based on the yearly energy. So for example, this year, the West supports money. The Northeast supports social media and marketing. So each different area supports an aspect of our life. And we can go to that physical location and use it and get that little extra edge. It's like taking water that isn't boiling and making it boil is what the feng shui will do. And then the third component is strategic date selection. And I work in what's called Qi in there as well. And if you've ever noticed a day where you get out of bed and everything goes wrong and you're like, why did I even get up today? Or you notice a day where everything just falls into place, it's because of the connection, most likely, that you had with the day. So sometimes people will tell me, oh my gosh, I just had a terrible day. And I'll look at my calendar and I'll be like, well, it was a clash day for you. It's a day where all of your luck was cut in half. And if you had known that, you wouldn't have scheduled that important meeting. You would have scheduled that meeting for a different day. And if there's a couple of really good days coming up to launch new projects, to send out marketing, to have that important meeting. And so clients that use my calendar incrementally increase their life just by using the strategic dates that I have for them. So really what I'm helping my clients do is make a 1% improvement in their life each and every day, because then by the end of the year, they're a completely different person than when they started. And I actually had that conversation with the client last week. She's been working with me about 4 years. And I looked at her and I said, you know, you're a completely different person now. And she's like, I am. I am a completely different person. She runs a pretty large business. And she'd been having employee problems, and we could see in her chart that was her problem with the employees. So she changed the tactics of how she was interacting with her employees, and now she's managed to create a very stable office environment, and she's keeping the good staff rather than continually having to replace them. So those are the major tools that I use with my clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. It's so interesting how there's so many different tools out there, and so many of us haven't heard of them, or just maybe we've heard of them but don't understand it. And so it's so great to learn from you and learn these different techniques and what you have to offer, because it is just a matter of little tweaks sometimes, like you say, that have such a huge impact, and when we work with a coach, those are the things that can happen for us. So yeah, thank you for that.
Right. And like you read in my bio, it's connecting oftentimes with those hidden things that can
Yes, yes.
propel you to the next level. So I'm all for life coaches and business coaches. That's not what I do. I'm very different in the regards as I'm looking at the hidden things, and oftentimes what I'm showing them in their destiny chart will show up on strengths finders or disc programs or things like that. But then we can get to why and the challenge. So then they're much more open to taking the exercises and the advice from a business or a life coach and really accelerating quite quickly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So many women feel like they have trouble deciding on what they want. And I think that your tools can help them with decision too. Can we talk briefly about that?
Yeah, it's surprising how many people don't know what they want. Worked with a client
Yeah.
yesterday, and she's like, I don't know what I want anymore." I then said, "All right, how about we just start with 2021? I want you to write the story of what happens to you." And I actually did this. Here's my story of 2021, and there's power of writing it with a pen rather than typing it on a computer.
Yes. That's something I teach as well.
Yeah, so it's just write your story. What do you want to have happen in 2021? I also work with a spiritual side of everyone. It's the Chi Men Guardians. I love their power. I help my clients have a meditation practice, even if they can't meditate. And it's sometimes we just have to sit and ask for clarity. What's my next best step in life? And when you simply put out there, what's my next best step? Usually a door will open or some sort of something will come in and influence you. And it's like, oh, that's my next best step. And all you have to do is take that next step. I have other clients that I say, and if they don't know what they want, I said, oh, okay, what's your goal for this month? What do you want to get done this month? Well, I want to do X, Y, and Z. All right, write it down. And then I'll help them use the guardians to support that. So we can do certain things in our physical world, and the spiritual world can come and support us in its way, giving clarity of thought, helping us with courage, helping us understand the information that we're being given, helping us come up with a great idea. But we have to put it out there first and take the first step. I was telling a client, I said, if you've ever had a dog or a puppy, you know how much they want to play, right? They'll nudge you and they'll move you, and they'll sit there with the ball in their mouth looking for you to make a move. That's how the universe works. It's sitting there with drool coming out of its mouth, waiting for you to take the ball and throw it and take a step forward so it can go to work for you. So it is about action. 2021 is a year of action. If you take action, everything's going to conspire to support you. And that is, to me, one of the strongest tools that I work with. And coaches like you help them get clear on what it is they want, and then I can help them employ those hidden forces to help support from behind the scenes as they take that action.
Yes, amazing. Yes. So that action we take, put yourself out there, take that action, and falling is failing is a normal part of action, especially when we're branching out and getting creative and trying new things. And as you work with the tools that you have and give people those tools, that helps them be able to rise back up and be in tune with your intuitions and those inspirations that you get, and don't ignore them, because those are the things that are going to be those ladders that shoot you back up. And if you ignore that intuition and those soft voices and stuff, then you're going to miss that ladder, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's your year of action. So go out there and do it, and don't be afraid of the shoots, and
Don't be
pay attention to the ladders. Yes.
right. The only way 2021 can really affect you is if you don't get back up.
Yes.
So one of the things that I start talking to my clients about is, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is called the box right under my finger. Every one of us is born with a day master. So everyone knows the elements: water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. This one I showed you happens to be a yang wood. There's yin wood and yang wood. When you know what your day master is, so yang wood individuals, I always think of the Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. That tree loved the little boy, and it sheltered the boy. It let the boy lean up against him, gave him everything he wanted. That's one of the things that Yangwood people are known for, but they're also known for their stubbornness. Think about a big tree. You bend the branch, it'll bend until it finally snaps. So think of that as a person. They will give and give and give until they don't. So they're the one day master that does not forgive easily. They also have to work on their stubbornness. So once you know who you are at kind of that internal innate level, you can then, okay, I know I'm a stubborn person. Maybe this year I have to open my mind a little bit. Because if you are stubborn in 2021, you're going to sit back and resist and say, I'm waiting. I'm going to wait till it's over and things are back to normal. Well, we're not going to go back to a normal as we knew it. And it's not going to be until November till we are back to somewhat normal. June is when we're predicting that we're going to see some things come back to more regularity, but it won't be till November. So are you going to waste another year? Get up, find a ladder, climb up it, build that network, do some networking, figure out what your action step is, be creative, find a passion, and you might just find another ladder and maybe never even see a shoot this year.
Yes. Awesome. Amy, you have given us so much value today. Thank you. And you have a really cool summit coming up. Will you tell us about that?
Oh, absolutely. That's great. Thank you. Every single year, I do a 3.5-hour overview of the coming year. So we just started 2021 as of February 4th. So I have my summit coming up on February 27th. I'm going to give everyone this chart for them. It's theirs based on their birth date and time. We're going to go through what all the animal energies are. We're going to talk about the spiritual strengths you have for 2021 and how to connect in with them. We'll talk about the feng shui of 2021, how you can use your house to get what you want. It's a lot of fun. It's a little overwhelming when it's your first time attending, but I will be recording it and all attendees will have access to that recording. I do answer questions throughout. It's so much fun to do this because people leave kind of having a game plan and knowing how they can 10x their results for the year, and they know where to focus their energies. So they do have a knowing on what they can handle this year.
That's
So that's
amazing. Yes. Everybody listening or watching needs to definitely sign up for this summit. That'll be so much fun. Like you say, I can't wait to do it. I'm excited. And I'll have that link in the show notes and so that everybody can find that. And we'll make sure that make it easy for you guys to sign up with Amy so you can do that. And sounds like a great time. So awesome.
And
Um,
I think you also have the link to the free ebook as well. So
yes.
I wrote a
Yes.
10-page ebook, just the general information about 2021. You can send that out as well. I'll offer that to your viewers for free as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, I've downloaded that already and it is very, very interesting. So you guys will definitely want to do that as well. Yes, Amy, this is so great. Thank you for all this value you have given us and all this information. One last question. So the podcast is Chasing Wildflowers, and that's the pursuit of intentionally seeking wonder in the small things, small magic things in our lives. So do you have like a chasing wildflowers moment that you'd like to share with us?
I like to think I have a lot of them because I really appreciate all of the little things that go on in my life. But this one's pretty recent. We are in the deep freeze right now in Minnesota. We're having a high of 3 below today, 3 below Fahrenheit today. I think the high tomorrow is going to be 8 below, so it's cold. But the sun is out. It's a beautiful blue sky. And when that happens, the sun gets a halo around it. We call them sun dogs. And so we've
Yes,
got the bright
yes.
sun and then the sun dogs, but they actually are really big sun dogs and they're absolutely beautiful. So even when it's dangerously cold, we can still find the beauty that nature provides us. And I just saw one of those yesterday and it was quite beautiful.
Awesome. I love that. There's so much value in getting outside, even if it's just a drive or something when it's cold, and just having that change of scenery and seeing what nature has to offer us. I love that. Thank you, Amy. This has been so great. And we'll call that a wrap for today. I'll make sure I have that ebook and the link to your summit in the show notes. And make sure you guys reach out to Amy on social media too and follow along. So thanks for coming on today, Amy.
Thank you.